Tonight on the Final Play.
It's another one. We might call that streak.
The wins keep coming, but Sean Payton isn't entirely pleased.
We found a way to make it interesting. We're going to have to clean up some of those mistakes.
We'll have reaction from the players as well as analysis from Jim Henderson, who called the game.
This defense is largely responsible for the 5-game winning streak.
Plus, we'll check in on college and prep football, including LSU's preparations for the #1 team in the land.
This one, this is going to be a slugfest like it always is.
And the Pelicans' 2-game win streak has Alvin Gentry enjoying a first during his tenure in New Orleans.
The best thing about the whole game was that I thought we found a way to compose ourselves and then go back to what we were doing and find a way to win.
From Fox 8 Sports, this is the Final Play, sponsored by your Southern Quality Ford dealer, built Ford tough, and Nissan.
Welcome into the Final Play. I'm Juan Kincaid, and the hunt for 5 is over. 5 straight wins by the Saints. Uncharted territory for the black and gold. Not since 2013, and that year, they ended the season in the playoffs. One thing we remember about that season, they had to survive some unexpected scares along the way. Sean Vazan takes a look back at today's nail-biter against the Bears.
The Saints came into the Superdome on Sunday in search of their 5th win in a row. And while it wasn't always pretty, it certainly was effective as they defeated the Bears today 20-12.
We knew it was going to be a tough, hard-fought game, and credit our guys for doing enough to get the win.
Sunday's game began with a bang when Brandon Coleman took a simple out route from Drew Brees 54 yards.
Brandon Coleman taking off, stumbling his way inside the 20-yard line.
That connection set up an 8-yard Alvin Kamara touchdown run. It was a touchdown that almost didn't happen. Originally, the Saints were going to settle for 3, but then Chicago jumped off sides on Will Lutz's field goal attempt and gave the Saints a fresh set of downs.
We had good plays. We went over them last night, and we felt comfortable with what we had, so just execution. Just execute that drive.
For the most part, the Saints offense attacked the stingy Bears defense with a workmanlike, controlled attack, reliant on quality rushes. Mark Ingram led the way with 75 yards on 18 carries and a touchdown. And shorter, more high-efficient passes, depending more on yards after the catch than downfield throws. It worked as the Saints took a 14-3 lead into halftime.
Fortunately, we got some points early. I thought that was significant. It's a team, when you look at them, how they're built, they've done real well and had success when they've had leads after the first quarter or the second quarter.
Then the second half got interesting. It felt like the Saints were going to slam the door shut on the Bears at any moment, especially after Zach Miller's catch while suffering a gruesome injury in the end zone was overturned, forcing the Bears to trade a touchdown that would have cut the lead to 4 into a field goal that made the score 14-6. But instead of taking advantage of some positive breaks, the Saints let them back in the game thanks to 2 fourth-quarter Mark Ingram fumbles.
You turn the ball over like we did, and really, you don't deserve to win games like that, and you can't do it.
But just as they've done throughout their win streak, the defense rose to the occasion. Though they did surrender 102 rushing yards to Jordan Howard, they also kept the Bears out of the end zone on all but one of their drives. With Chicago trying to mount a game-tying drive, rookie Marshawn Lattimore sealed the win with an interception off fellow rookie Mitchell Trubisky.
I just knew that it was going deep, and I just made a play on the ball. I had a pick earlier, and I dropped. I had to come back and make a play for the team.
We found out after the game that side of the ball had a little bit of extra motivation, thanks to a Chicago Tribune column suggesting the Saints defense was the exact type of cupcake that would allow John Fox to take the training wheels off Trubisky and let him throw.
I think we know who the cupcake was. There was a cupcake reference sometime this week. I'm pretty sure we're going to call these Chicago Bears sprinkles, but maybe we won't. We do know that there was a divide in this line, that somebody was a winner and somebody was a loser, and we know who won.
They've done it now 5 weeks in a row, and they're far from perfect, but it sure feels good to correct those imperfections while sitting atop the NFC South at 5-2.
I think that in the past there's been very little room for error, and while it's frustrating that I don't feel like we're playing our best football, or really anywhere near our best football, we're still finding ways to win.
And we want to pass along an update on owner Tom Benson's health. The 90-year-old was taken to the hospital at halftime of today's game as a precaution. According to the Saints, Mr. Benson became weak from a weekend full of events, and he was taken to the hospital for fluids and IV. As of late this afternoon, we were told that he's fine and was expected to be back at his home this evening. Time now to go back out to the Dome, and Sean Vazan with more on this game.
We now welcome in the voice of the Saints, Jim Henderson, who was on the call today. And Jim, look, I know this. Wins aren't always going to be perfect in the NFL, but I know this. It's a lot better to talk about these mistakes that they made with a victory as opposed to a loss. And in years past, this may have been a loss. They've won 5 straight games. That's a reason for this team to be happy.
Yeah, and the way it came down the stretch in the past, the Saints would take a lead and you go, oh no, the defense has to go out there. You almost didn't want to watch. This defense is largely responsible for the 5-game winning streak.
No doubt about it. Defense, defense, defense. I mean, each week you just see a little sign of growth. I mean, they stepped up when they had to step up. They bent, did not break. And at the end there, Marshawn Lattimore with the big INT. This defense has really forged an identity. When you talk about Drew Brees didn't even throw a touchdown pass again today. So, I mean, this defense is really playing well.
I think it's the first time since 2009 in a victory against the Jets that the Saints won without a Drew Brees touchdown pass. And I'm so impressed with the way the secondary is playing. A.J. Klein, I thought, had a good game. I thought Kenny Vaccaro had a terrific game in all phases.
No doubt about that. Now, let's be honest. We talked to Coach Payton and Drew Brees about this afternoon. Chris Hagan's going to have a story on this later. But Saints caught some breaks. But I've always believed good luck follows good teams, and they caught quite a few today. They had the doinked field goal, a couple of fumbles that were overturned. In the corner of the end zone, the Zach Miller would look like a touchdown. He shredded his leg. I just saw it was a dislocated knee. Somehow it was overturned, and they had to settle for a field goal, which in the end, if you add up the points, really made a difference. Saints aren't just winning. They're catching a few breaks along the way.
Catching a lot of breaks along the way, especially today. Like Drew Brees said, eventually these things even out. It was the Saints' day to catch those breaks today. I still think the Zach Miller catch was a touchdown. I just came downstairs with the radio announcers of the Bears, and they were really upset. For one thing, they said Zach Miller's a great guy, and it seems like every time after he makes a big play, he gets a serious injury in some way. He was the only guy with 2 touchdown receptions that Trubisky had thrown a touchdown pass to, and he thought he had a third there. So that was a huge break. I still think that's a touchdown, but eventually I guess the breaks even out and was the Saints' day today.
No doubt about that. The finish, though, did you feel like the Bears were coming back, or the Saints were kind of letting them back in?
The Saints letting them back in. I think, you know, Mark Ingram fumbling as deep in Bear territory as he did, let them have new life when they should have been put away. Those could have been 10 points, 14 points, or at the worst 7 points perhaps to come out of that and truly put it away. It'll be interesting to see how they resolve this. You know, he and Mark have had problems in the past. He was benched before for fumbling problems. I think he had only lost 1 fumble coming into this game. And then to give it up twice late in the 4th quarter when you really could have put the team away, that really hurts. And he didn't get back in the game after that 2nd fumble.
Nah, he really did not. So clearly that's going to be addressed, you would think, in the film room, if not even deeper than that. But still, nonetheless, Saints are victorious. Saints have won 5 straight. It sure feels good. This team's got a little mojo going. We've been waiting for this mojo for quite some time now to finally get it back. But the truth is, for a lot of these guys, this is the first time they're experiencing this. So sure does feel good.
Yeah, young guys coming together. You can see the confidence growing week to week. That's what winning does, and it feels great.
You know, and one unit that kind of gets overlooked, other than a late return, was the special teams. Thomas Morstead had one of the most incredible punts I'd ever seen, where it bounced at like the 1, went to the side and was down inside the 5. He's been a weapon. Will Lutz, he got a little lucky on that one where it kind of doinked in or skimmed off the goalpost and in. The special teams, all of a sudden, that was, to me, I thought that was the difference between them and a playoff team last year. This year, that's really been sewed up.
Yeah, they've tightened things up. I thought that 49-yard kick by Lutz was huge. They gave him the 20-12 lead. It looked like the game was over then. The Saints kept letting him back in. So Lutz, I think, is playing with more confidence. You know, he might have saved a touchdown on the horse collar tackle going down the sideline. He'll stick his nose in there no matter what. So that's looking good. The Saints haven't really had to have a big return game, though someday that'll be a part of it. But, you know, I think the main concern, too, is though there was some penetration on one of the Lutz field goals. He hit the upright and glanced through. We talk about breaks, right?
Yeah.
There's another one. You know, if it's 4 inches the other way, it doinks off the upright, and they don't get anything, and they get 3 out of it. So, yeah, that's encouraging. They'll have to tighten up the coverage a little bit, but I think they're capable of doing that.
You know, all of a sudden, this division, which we thought was going to be a vaunted division, and you're really going into the season thought, Man, I don't know how the Saints are going to compete here. All of a sudden, you look at some of these teams. I know Atlanta won today, but still, the Saints sit atop the division, and they really kind of seem like the team. It's not just like they seem like the team to beat with Tampa Bay coming in here next week.
Yeah, there are problems at other teams' quarterback position. Tampa Bay's got one of them, with Jameis Winston and the injury to his shoulder. Now he's back in there, but I think he had to leave the game for a while today in their game against Carolina. Cam Newton is Cam Newton like this. You look at Matt Ryan, he doesn't look like the same quarterback as a year ago when he was the NFL MVP. So, yeah, I think it's no fluke, and I agree with you. It's a 5-game winning streak, but in the process, now people are paying attention to this team as maybe this is just not an aberration. Maybe this is a team that is finally putting things together, especially a team that, as Drew said, is playing complementary football. Finally, the defense is not a liability. It can actually win games for you.
Another successful Saints Sunday. Jim Henderson, thank you, sir.
Thanks, Sean.
Thanks a lot, guys. We're going to get a lot more out of Jim tomorrow, beginning at 8 a.m. with his Black and Gold Rewind. Then at 5, it's his award-winning commentary. And we wrap up the day of Saints recaps with the Black and Gold Review at 10:35. Now's the time to get your questions in for that show. Go to the FinalPlay app, click on the Final Word feature, and submit. We want to hear from you. Still to come on the Final Play. When you win, the bounces just seem to go your way. And the Saints benefited from a number of calls today. Chris Hagan has that story. And later, an off week for LSU and Alabama just gives us more time to talk about next week's matchup in Tuscaloosa. We'll head to Baton Rouge and recap a busy weekend of college football when we come back.
You're watching The Final Play.
It wasn't the prettiest of wins, but as Sean Payton put it after the game, 5 weeks from now, no one's going to look at how the Saints won today's game, just that they won. But analyzing it now, and you realize the Saints caught a bunch of breaks today, Chris Hagan has more on just how often the ball bounced the Saints' way.
From a player's point of view, they're always right, and the refs always wrong.
I can't even comment on it because I need our refs to be on our side one day.
But today, the Saints seem to benefit from the most potentially game-changing calls, and none of them weirder than Zach Miller's touchdown taken off the board after he dislocated his knee on the play.
I thought it was a touchdown. I was ready to go back out there and defend a field goal and not let him score another point.
It felt like there were 3 or 4 today that could go either way. Honestly, I felt like we had good angles, and I thought it was 50-50.
And while that one stands out, there were several other calls or plays that helped decide the Saints' fate that just as easily could have worked against them. Alvin Kamara's near fumble early in the second quarter would have given the Bears great field position. Instead, the call was overturned, and the Saints were able to keep Chicago at bay.
Just grateful that it did go my way. You know, I still got to hold on to it, but you know, when you're winning, I guess, like you said, I mean, sometimes things go your way, and that just happened to go our way.
That play, along with Will Lutz's field goal off the left upright, Thomas Morstead's punt bouncing the right way to stay inside the 5-yard line, and Drew Brees' arm moving forward just enough to be ruled incomplete and not a fumble, to name a few.
We've been on the flip side of these too many times. So, you know, maybe it's coming around to benefit us a little bit.
You're hoping you get the breaks you need. You know, we got a few, we didn't get a few, and it's probably the way, you know, most of the games shape up.
It was all even out in the end, and we're definitely, I think we're still behind in the numbers that have gone against us, so we need some more of these to catch up, to even it out in our favor.
The Saints would probably be the first to admit, though, that at some point those lucky breaks may become unlucky and work against them. And especially on offense, they have some things to clean up before they face tougher opponents later in the schedule. Reporting at the Dome, I'm Chris Hagan for the Final Play.
Saints' next opponent, the Bucs, hosting Carolina today. Pick it up first quarter, no score. Jonathan Stewart gets the handoff, and he goes over the top from 1 yard out. First touchdown by a Panthers running back this year. Crazy stat there. Second quarter, same score. Jameis Winston struggling all year. He might be hurt. Back to pass. Julius Peppers calls the fumble and the sack. Recovered by Kurt Coleman. In the fourth quarter, Panthers up 10-3. Winston throws it deep. Not a good throw there. Intercepted by Mike Adams. Would fumble, but recovered by Luke Kuechly. Another turnover for Tampa Bay. Ensuing Panthers drive, Cam Newton throws it up for Kelvin Benjamin, and he comes down with a 25-yard touchdown. Panthers now up 17-3. In the fourth quarter, same score. Winston back to pass into tight coverage, picked off by Luke Kuechly. Kuechly finished the night with 6 tackles, an interception, fumble recovery as the Bucs dropped their 3rd straight game, 17-3 to final. Much more Saints talk on deck for Jim Henderson's Black and Gold Review show tomorrow night, as well as on Thursday's Game Plan. Both those shows at 10:35. Friday night, it's high school football time with Sean Vazan and Chris Hagan. They bring you highlights from across the area. On Sunday, the game day routine, tailgate at 10 a.m., kickoff at noon, recap and reaction Sunday night right here on this show, The Final Play. Up in the Northeast today, Falcons and Jets in a downpour. First quarter, no score. Josh McCown to Eric Tomlinson. That is a 20-yard touchdown pass. Jets up 7-0. Later in the first quarter, same score. Matt Ryan, Austin Hooper, connection, 1-yard score, 7-all at that point. In the second quarter, it's tied at 10. McCown to Robbie Anderson. He does the rest, 29-yard touchdown. Jets up 17-13 at the break. In the fourth quarter, Falcons down 17-16, and Ryan to Mohamed Sanu, an 8-yard score. And that's the difference in the game. The Falcons win it 25-20. So here's where things stand in the NFC South. The Saints are still a half game up over the Panthers, who are 5-3. Saints, of course, 5-2. Atlanta's keeping pace at 4-3, while the Bucs have been a train wreck this year. They're 2-5 and again come to the Dome next week. Up next on The Final Play, just how important is the bye week for LSU and Alabama? One thing you know for sure, just because they're both off doesn't mean they're relaxing. And later, what can we read, if anything, from the Pelicans' dominating win against LeBron James and the Cleveland Cavaliers? A check-in on the Pels is coming up.
The Final Play.
For the 20th time in the past 30 seasons, the SEC holds the top 2 spots in the AP poll. Alabama remains the unanimous #1, 59 first-place votes, but Georgia's up to #2. It's the Bulldogs' highest ranking since 2008. Ohio State's up to 3rd after Saturday's comeback win against Penn State, who dropped out of the top 5 to #7. Wisconsin's 4th, Notre Dame's in at #5. Clemson, the defending champs, are #6. On the notable screen, Central Florida remains one of just 4 undefeated teams in Division I. They're up to #15. Auburn 16th, LSU up to 19th despite being off, and Memphis 22nd after their win against Tulane. It's become a tradition. The last Saturday of October is always reserved for LSU and Alabama to be on break. It gives both schools more time to think about what's next, which is the Tigers and Crimson Tide squaring off in Tuscaloosa next Saturday night. And for the umpteenth time, the 2 schools will enter ranked in the top 25. This off week has been all about preparation and hopefully not falling off too much while preparing for Saturday's showdown.
There's certain things that I think that I would love to improve on myself, and just try and make sure I get as healthy as I can by next week, and because it's going to be a fight and it's going to be a battle, especially how strong their defense has been, and they really do jump out on film on how athletic and strong and sound they are. And
discipline, this is going to be a slugfest like it always is, and you're going to get real tired out there, but you have to continue to do your job, because that 1 or 2 play that you don't do your job, it can cost you.
So if we have bye weeks, we're still going to have to practice, and the players are going to have to practice, because I don't think that college players could take a whole week off and that not have a significant impact on how they perform and how they play.
The feel-good story that was Tulane football is anything but these days. During the most difficult part of their schedule, the Greenies have hit a wall. Their second straight game against a top 25 conference opponent ended the same as the first, with the Wave trying to rally a comeback from an early deficit and running out of gas. It was South Florida a week ago, followed by 24th ranked Memphis Friday night. The Tigers jumped out to an early 35-point lead, and the Green Wave had no answers. Wave quarterback Jonathan Banks accounted for 4 touchdowns for Tulane. in the 56-26 loss, their 5th loss in 8 games. Last night in Hammond, Southeastern was tasked with having to outscore a high-powered offense in Sam Houston State. The Lions kept pace through the first 2.5 quarters, tying the score at 23. In the third, thanks in large part to Lorenzo Lee Nunez, over 100 yards rushing and passing. All of that running took a toll on him, and the offense hit a wall down the home stretch as the Bearcats built a 10-point lead and held on for the 33-23 victory. It was the better day for the Colonels, though, as they kept on winning. 38-31 over Incarnate Word. Nicholls State has now put together 6 wins this season. Southern won a shootout against Arkansas Pine Bluff, 47-40. Jesuit and St. Aug combined forces once again yesterday for a last-minute go-ahead touchdown. Tanner Lee to Stanley Morgan Jr. to put Nebraska ahead of Purdue for good. This has been a solid 1-2 punch for the Cornhuskers this season, connecting on 7 scores throughout the year. Coming up, did the real New Orleans Pelicans reveal themselves to the Cleveland Cavaliers last night? How they dominated LeBron James and the Cavs, and what does this mean going forward? We'll answer that, and we'll wrap up Week 8 of the prep football season when the Final Play continues.
Watching the Final Play.
Welcome back into the Final Play, and this is our catch of the week. It looks like a simple enough pass from Drew Brees to Michael Thomas, but in the record books, it'll go down as Brees' 6,000th career completion, putting him in elite company as one of only 3 quarterbacks to complete that many balls. Brett Favre, Peyton Manning are the other 2. Congratulations to Drew on that. The high school play of the week takes us down to Thibodaux. Covenant Christian's Anthony Ruffin makes a one-handed catch, stiff arms 2 defenders, and then for good measure, he bodies up one more man standing between him and the end zone, all a part of CCA's 30-0 blanking of St. Martin's. Voting for our players of the week is now up and going. Brother Martin defense forced 7 turnovers against Shaw, including a pick 6. Or how about De La Salle quarterback Julian Gums? 159 yards rushing and 3 touchdowns. And then there's Carr quarterback Skylar Perry. He threw 3 touchdown passes, ran for another against Helen Cox. To vote, log on to fox8live.com/player. And for more on the week that was in high school football, head over to the Fox 8 News app or fox8live.com for highlights, scores, recruiting news, and much more. The lasting impression from last night's Pelicans-Cavaliers game, the fact that the Pels can beat anyone when everyone shows up to play. 30, 29, 29, 24. That's the scoring totals for 4 of the team's 5 starters, led by Anthony Davis's 30 points. He also had 14 rebounds. But Davis and DeMarcus Cousins, who had a triple-double, are expected to get theirs every night. It's the contributions from guys like Etwan Moore, who had 24 points, and an aggressive Drew Holiday, who also had 29 to go along with 7 assists. Now, if only they could put in this kind of performance against every other NBA team.
And we feel like we can play against anybody. You know, we feel like we can match up anybody. That's 1 through 15, coaching staff, organization. You know, we're trying to build a team that no matter who we play or who we put on the floor, you know, we can be successful in. We don't care what they say on the front of that jersey on the opposing team. You know, we're going to continue to play for us and make sure we do the things that we have to do to win.
So can the Pels keep the winning going? They'll be on the home court Monday night with Orlando in town. Then on Wednesday, they'll welcome the Timberwolves into the Smoothie King Center. After that, they hit the road for 4 straight games beginning in Dallas Friday night. And that's our show for tonight. For all of us here at Fox 8, I'm Juan Kincaid. We hope you'll join us again next Sunday night for the Final Play.
From Fox 8 Sports, this has been the Final Play.